Hello, hello, hello again, people. After a little bit of a hiatus, because I was focused on Daggerfall, as I kind of was saying over there, I'm back finally, yeah. We still have some Q2 to do, whatnot, and I didn't want to stop at, and, not do the rest of it. So yeah, here we are! We're back! And yes, hopefully this is more evidence, in favor of how exactly I'm going to try and do things more. We might have stuff that interrupts it, but we'll eventually get back to the old and continue off where we left off and, build up stuff instead of, just going around circles. And that kind of goes for like how exactly Thief is or whatnot. So yeah, hopefully this, if you've been having concerns about those, hopefully this will kind of be more proof or whatnot that we can actually do something like this, whereby we leave and we can come back and things are totally not set on fire. Okay, so let's see here. Today's level is feeling eerie. A spooky place, a terrifying place, a place filled with about probably 20 enemies and one touch. But that's beside the point. Anyway, let's get underway. Let's see here. Feeling? I'm not feeling too well. I'm seeing blood everywhere. Yeah, I think you should get that checked, probably. But luckily, that's also the name of the Greek level, so yeah. The condition is you're playing Q2. Please stop now or else you'll hurt yourself even more. Hooray! I get to see the color purple! I was missing the color purple. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. High quality. Yeah, baby. The double-barreled shotgun and take on the world. Okay, as usual, every single one of these Q2 levels has a bunch of grunts. Seriously, you could just, like, rename it, like, shoot down bunch of grunts, and that would basically be every level in Q2. Yeah, besides, like, entering Fiend Attack or something. But yeah, most levels in Q2 are just, like, Gruntfest for some reason. It's really, really weird. I guess because they're the weak mooks of the game and take, like, 2 shots to kill. It makes sense, almost, to just toss a bunch of them in a level and call it a day. Hooray for lack of creativity! Alright, we're coming to an intersection. Hooray, we actually get some variety. Uh-oh, I hear Fiend! There's a Fiend! There's a Fiend! He's right over there! Oh, God! And so one jumping enemy jumped to kill another jumping enemy. Amazing! Where are you going? Oh, God! I'm getting a little bit disoriented. It's been a little bit since I played Quake. Okay, there's a bunch of shells. And, now we just need some other gun ammo. Hi! Okay, here's some nail ammo. Now watch this, there's no nail gun in the entire map. Why do I get a feeling there's not? Oh yeah, I remember how this level works. So basically, this is yet another 4-corner map. Yeah, it's a little bit more stretched out, as you can see, but it's basically still a 4-corner map. So let's tackle this side. Here's the knight. Oh wait, they're attacking me from behind! Oh! I'm an idiot! Well, I have 18 health, I'm probably gonna die. How are you? Okay, try and dodge as much as possible. There's only 3 enemies left. We can do this, right? I totally don't believe in myself, but we can try. There's still a scrag somewhere around here. Aha! Coming from the left. Oh, not dead yet. Aha! Okay, so we only have one more enemy to go. Let's get some armor, gather some goodies, and hopefully try and live. We'd stick to die on the last enemy. Okay, a nail gun. Hopefully that'll be useful to wipe out whatever we're gonna face. Extra nails! As you see, that's what we need to face. Basically, a death knight. Yeah, this is actually like the first Death Knight in all of Q2. We're like 65 levels into Q2, we finally see a Death Knight. Yeah, Death Knights are very, very uncommon in this pack. But as you see, they do exist. My guard! There we are! Also, the stupidest thing ever, look at that! There are 3 packs of rocket ammo, and yet there are no explosives anywhere on the map! You realize the stupidity is, right? Like, why have types of ammo for a standalone level, mind you, if you're not gonna have the gun appropriate to it here? It's just really, really stupid. So yeah. Not exactly sure why they're so rare Death Knights. Um, then again, most enemies are pretty, like, uncommon generally. Like, Voids seem pretty uncommon. A lot of enemies are pretty, like, rarely used, but I'd say like the Death Knight is probably one of the rarest in Q2. You only see like really like a handful. And it's really, really weird because of Quake's insistence on basically having Death Knights everywhere. So all of a sudden suddenly having this is a bit weird. So yeah. Let's collect these and I guess that's it. There's really nothing else to do here. Let me make sure. 22 out of 23. Let's get out of this place. Alright, so what I've been basically doing, I was trying in the past to like optimize some stuff and make it so that way maybe potentially I could get dot spots like getting a better resolution and whatnot. I was trying to fix the age old problems of being in 300 by 200. And it doesn't seem to be working. The best solution I've found so far is to not use DOSBots DOM, instead trying to use regular DOSBots, like the latest SVNs or something. But the problem is, those are so heavily unstable in OBS, I'd rather go the route to stability and a smaller resolution than a bigger resolution and a total lack of stability, especially since it still slows down as soon as I start OBS. For some reason, OBS and dot spots in any large resolution really do not work well together. I really don't know what it is, but dot spots is kind of like a funky program. It emulates a lot and it's very, very powerful. And it's a brilliant program for what it does because it allows for a lot of compatibility that wouldn't otherwise exist. But and there really isn't many alternatives on the market at all. But at the same time, it does have some severe flaws, specifically the fact of the matter that it is a pain to work with, when it comes to like performance. I say performance is probably like a big issue when it comes to like DOS bots. I've never really like sadly I was never really around for like the original days of DOS, so I never really got like the ability to experience how like fast they were back then. As far as I understand it, DOS basically worked like how fast your computer worked. So I think it was a totally arbitrary experience, totally based on whatever hardware you had, which makes it really, really difficult to kind of pinpoint anything at all. um, but yeah, the big problem about it is that, yeah, with the way that they basically try and handle in all these games, it makes it really, really hard to like, um, get like good performance out of them, and you end up with a lot of like weird performance issues. A lot of the issues I might have been having with all these games lately might have to fall back on the fact that a lot of them I've been having to rely on using DOS bots. Elder Scrolls Arena, maybe that's why I got constant memory issues. Daggerfall, maybe that's why we had like certain crashes at times and certain issues like that. Um, and Quake, probably that's the reason we can't get a bigger resolution at all. So yeah, the biggest problem with all this stuff is that we just DOSBots is not exactly the best for performance. You suddenly take that out of DOSBots and you throw that into like a native Windows environment based thing, and suddenly you can run the exact same program Probably even more resource intensive because suddenly now it's allowing for a lot more new features, and it works a lot better. We are able to use a lot of capabilities or whatnot. I don't have a weak computer at all. Um, I have like a top of line i7 or whatnot. The 4790K, some people would say it's still pretty like, it's a few generations old, but still pretty high end. And at the same time, it has one of the fastest internal cores. While not being like an AMD with their total instability. And the fact that AMD also, because it's like the way it works means that it's totally irrelevant. It actually runs a lot slower than Intel, but that's aside the point. That's getting into a lot of nerdy talk and whatnot. And then I have like a GTX Titan X, basically the best thing you could get on the market for graphics cards right now. So, and with 16 gigabyte RAM, I could basically run most modern applications and pretty much be fine. 32 isn't really needed on anything. So it's not really due to any issue with my computer. My computer is not the problem here. Um, the problem is DOSBots. Basically it's either the way it's set up or it's the way that DOSBots just natively is. It might be the second, but the way I'm seeing it, it just seems like a very unstable thing. Like I can't get it just to perform 100% optimally. I'm always having some sacrifice or some funky thing I'm trying to do. It's just a pain. And so, I think at the end of the day, that's the big problem. Is that even though we have DOSBots to emulate things, trying to use DOS-based things is kind of annoying sometimes. It doesn't really help that these old games generally have like clunky interfaces outside of like FPS titles. FPS titles kind of work because they're based on simplicity and therefore they don't usually clutter you with a bunch of buttons you have to try and like use. But if you're trying to go for like any other type of game out there and use DOS, the problem is that usually those have like very, very clunky interfaces that run very, very slowly. Kind of like we kind of saw with like Elder Scrolls Arena or whatnot. And that's the main reason why exactly I'm not a big fan of doing too many things on like DOS-based games or whatnot. Maybe that's a big reason why I can't exactly get into like older games more than like Quake or whatnot. It might not. It's not just really the fact of the matter that it was in 3D versus sprites. If anything, I probably could handle sprites fine, but a big part of the problem is performance. Performance is absolutely horrible, and even when you get it to like improve to modern standards or whatnot, like Z-Doom or whatnot, the problem with like Z-Doom and all that is that it's usually a lot of hacks that ends up looking like hacks. Like the fact about that you can look up and down's nice, but like Duke Nukem 3D and all that, you end up just basically walking through enemies, and it feels very, very like cheap. I don't really like that. And I think that's the biggest part of the problem is that you think like I can't handle things before like the days of like Quake or whatnot. You think I just can't stand sprites, and the fact of the matter that I'm maybe more graphical obsessed than you'd like. I'm basically like one of these weird graphics people that's obsessed with Mario or whatnot, and just cannot get past this little obstruction in the road or whatever. I don't really think so. I think there are some legitimate differences between sprite and 3D modeling. Like I said, a big difference is the whole solidity of objects. That definitely is a big thing. In Quake, if you run up against an enemy, it basically stops you. Do the same thing in Doom. It'll stop you, but sometimes it won't. It's very, very funky. Um, you have like infinite height things at times if you're talking original engine. It gets very, very weird. Actually, Doom, I think you don't pass through enemies. Like Daggerfall, so you do. But I don't think Doom you do. But yeah, the point still stands that like invisible enemies above you and lots of funky things like that. And of course, the ability that, using this, it's not basically the way the original game is designed, and you have to feel like you're just cheating the whole thing. Yeah, that's a big part of the problem with sword sports is that you end up using it for the original game, and they end up nerfing the whole experience. Um, and so yeah, it makes it really hard if you try and distance yourself from the original issues, because then you end up feeling like, did I just make it ridiculously easy? Kind of like how I complain constantly about like New Dark for Thief. The problem with that is because the fact of the matter that it legitimately changes things. It makes it so that way it makes things like that were normally like puzzle based things or whatnot, or like fan missions, suddenly ridiculously easy to complete in the modified games because certain mechanics were changed to make it more convenient. And I think that's the big problem I have with like, source ports and why I try to keep as vanilla as possible, because you never know when exactly it's going to mess with something like that. Um, but then on the same hand, then you go to like the original, like older games, and then you have like a lot of issues with like controls and um, funky little things like that, little random details. Each one's kind of different, but similar in the fact that they're very clunky and unwieldy. Um, Even when I said when you're talking Doom, because the fact of the matter that being unable to look up and down is fine, but then when you have a bunch of enemies above you and just have to rely on auto aim, it doesn't really feel right. It ends up like you know, especially when you're talking like certain mods or whatnot, whereby like enemies right below you. But that's all beside the point. Anyway, I've been rambling for long enough, but I thought it would be good to actually try and explain my stance on why exactly it is that I kind of enjoy 3D games a bit more. Um, I have like this weird little era whereby it's like I prefer like games around like from like Quake to like 98 or so, and of course I like Thief 2 or whatnot, 10 bits. I think really it actually goes up to 2000, but I generally don't touch stuff around like 1999 or 2000. I couldn't really like tell you much. Honestly, I'm very, very limited what I've touched. I've touched like things here and there, but it's very, very spotty, and that's kind of what I'm hoping to fix. Is by doing a lot of this stuff and starting to check out stuff, I've touched a lot of sprite-based games. And I've kind of been limiting myself a lot on 3D-based games. So hopefully now I can kind of try and fix that up, and we can start seeing some more 3D based stuff. So that way we can see how exactly stable a lot of these are if they actually improve things. Because I'm kind of based on my experiences, based on a few games. Like I said, I think like I've only played like a few 3D shooters. That's pretty sad to actually say. But when you actually think about it, there's only like a handful I touched. Wow. This should be interesting. Anyway, thank you very much all for watching. It has been interesting, and I shall see you all next time.